Hello everybody and welcome back to Typical City. Manchester City play first in a seismic weekend of Premier League football that's going to pretty much decide this title race for me. I feel like this could be the weekend where we get a really good idea of who's got the right mentality to sustain this Premier League pressure that Arsenal and Manchester City players will no doubt be feeling, and we know that we can do it. Can Arsenal sustain the pressure on Manchester City? Because playing first has played a huge factor in this title race this season. The first time that I can remember Manchester City playing first, the most recent time at least, Manchester City did the business, then Arsenal crumbled under the pressure. They've got to do it again. They've got to play second while they go to Old Trafford on Sunday and City play first. So if we do the business, can Arsenal crumble and crack under that pressure that we saw them do against Aston Villa, where they lost, and Liverpool as well, which pretty much saw Liverpool out of the title race. Arsenal were clinging on at that point. But Manchester City, they know what they're doing in this stage of the season. They know what they're doing, and form, for me, kind of goes out the window a little bit. I feel like this is more the mental stage of the season. Quite literally, it's off its tits, mental. Absolutely mental, the business stage of the season. But I do feel like the form doesn't come into it too much, and more the mentality of each player, the nerve-jangling side of the game. Can you handle it? You know, that side of it is so important this stage of the season. And Arsenal, last season, they completely bottled it. This stage, they're showing a lot more bottle. They're showing a lot more courage and bravery and understanding of what's required to make it over the line. But will it be enough for Arsenal this season? Because I think City, if they do the business against Fulham, that pressure could be huge. Going away to Old Trafford, which, I mean, it's not exactly a fortress, is it? I mean, it's a quivering piece of shit, to be honest. Old Trafford, it's crumbling. Speaking of crumbling, it's crumbling around them. It's completely collapsing, Old Trafford. I mean, as a figuratively and literally, it is crumbling. And I just feel like Arsenal are going to probably do the business against United, regardless of the result. But you just never know, because United, they've taken points off Liverpool. They knocked them out in that classic 4-3 match in the FA Cup as well. So United can do the business. But the aura around them right now, I wouldn't be focusing on that game too much as a City fan. I think that we do our job, you know, and we could end up winning this Premier League title by just winning all our games and frustrating the fuck out of Arsenal to the point where they go, what more do we have to do? You know, just like Liverpool did. What more do we have to do? And then they can maybe celebrate the end of the season with a second place trophy like Liverpool wanted. We got 98 points. We should get a trophy for that. Do you remember that? The petition for getting a trophy for finishing second on 98 points, jokers. But yeah, like I said, form goes out the window. Arsenal, their concerns are going to be Manchester United, but City's concerns are going to be Fulham. And we've got reasonably good form against Fulham. We've actually won our last 15 Premier League games against Fulham. So, I mean, that's actually a joint record for the longest winning streak against one single club in English football history, believe it or not. And who we're joint with, there are two other teams that we're actually joint with. The other team is Manchester City, and the other team is Manchester City. So, those three teams that are Fulham, 15 wins in a row, Bournemouth, 15 wins in a row, and Watford, 15 wins in a row. And again, you link it to form, that Haaland, our key players, look like they're hitting form. Rodri getting 2 assists in the last game. Haaland scoring 4, you know. Unbelievable. And there was a record as well. Very close to a record, in fact, because he was the second quickest to ever get to 4 goals in 54 minutes. It took Erling Haaland to score 4 Premier League goals. That record is held by Gabriel Jesus, who scored 4 goals in 53 minutes against Watford. Another Watford. Bloody Watford. Hey, the fucking Watford catching strays in this video, mate. Watford, 15-game winning streak, and then the record for Gabriel Jesus is 4 goals in 53 minutes against Watford. If you're a Watford fan in the chat or in the comment section, I apologise. I apologise if you've just clicked on this video. Just see what he's got to say about Fulham versus Manchester City, and then Watford just catching strays left, right and centre, totally unwarranted. So unlucky Watford. But yeah, Haaland scored 5 in his last 3 games against Fulham, which is, again, just an indication of this guy. Just like he can pick his team and bully the crap out of them, can't he? He knows what he's doing against the bottom 2/3 of the Premier League. I feel like Haaland just wipes the floor with those teams more often than not. I still feel like he's a big game player. He can score against the big teams, but I do feel like these are the sort of teams that Haaland just laps up. Mediocre defending gets exposed by Erling Haaland, and I feel like Fulham, they're not in the greatest of form right now, but Haaland with his 5 goals in 3 games, another record by the way as well, 3 of those 5 goals were penalties, and no Premier League player has ever scored 4 penalties in a row against a single opposition in those 4 games. So this could be, if we get a penalty and Erling Haaland takes it, another Premier League record that Erling Haaland and Manchester City can hang their hats on with pride. And I mean, you know, City are unbeaten in 20 Premier League games as of right now, winning 16 of those. Rodri as well has got 47 games unbeaten, which is he's quite a way away from the actual record, which is Sol Campbell, who owns that record of number of Premier League games unbeaten, and he's got 56, so he's got 9 to go. 9 more games of Rodri being unbeaten, and he will have the longest Premier League streak of going unbeaten, which is unbelievable. So there's plenty of records for Manchester City still to smash. We've smashed so many of them over the years, so many of them, but there's still more up for grabs, and it's just a testament to this Pep Guardiola side, to this Manchester City Football Club in general, the way we play, the records we've smashed over the time, and it's generated a belief in this stage of the season. It's generated form, it's generated belief, and it's generated results, most importantly. You know, in our last 6 games, in 5 of them, we scored 4 or more goals. In a stage of the season where I heard some City fans saying, forget the goal difference, write it off, forget Arsenal's goal difference. We halved it in the last game. We halved it. And we could get even closer by thumping Fulham. I mean, I'd take any result. I'm not going there for 4 or 5-0. I'm not going there for goals galore. I'm going there for 3 points. That's what it's all about at this stage of the season, is getting the results. But if we can somehow claw back that goal difference to 1 or 2... it's game on, and that affordable draw that Arsenal might be wondering if Manchester City draw any game from this stage of the season onwards, then it's Arsenal's Premier League title to win because of the goal difference. But all of a sudden, it could come down to the final day of the season where both teams are just going blow for blow, Arsenal against Everton and Manchester City against West Ham, of who can score the most, which would be an unbelievable final day of the season. So get in the comments if you think that's going to happen. But in terms of Fulham, not in the greatest vein of form themselves. They've won 1 in 7 Premier League games, which isn't ideal. They were in a reasonable good Fulham form in the middle stage of the season, from February to March in particular. Muniz had scored 8 goals. He had 8 goal involvements in 8 games. As of late, he's scored 1 in 6. So their star man is not exactly finding the back of the net with the frequency that he was in the middle of the season. But you know Fulham will get chances. You know full well Fulham will get chances, because Manchester City away from home concede an average of 10 shots per game away from home, compared to our Etihad form, which is 6 shots that we tend to concede. So they'll get chances, Fulham. They will get chances, and I'll show you on the team on the tactics board in a minute what I expect Fulham to do. Won't be too dissimilar to what Wolves probably attempted to do but failed in enacting that plan, that game plan. Nottingham Forest away at the City Ground, they did a much better job of using the flanks, using the wide play and speed down those flanks, because you know City play 3 at the back. In the transitions, if we lose the ball, we've got big gaping holes down the sides of our defence. So we've got to be careful on that counter-attacking side of things. But in terms of the number of shots that we've faced, City get an average of 17.8 shots on the opponent's goal away from home, which is the highest in the Premier League. So our away form is something that we haven't really spoken about too much as City fans, but I do feel like there's some decent form there. You know, that's a testament to that with that stat, but can't underestimate the first goal importance. You know, the nerves. We saw that early goal against Wolves, how much it calmed everybody. Getting that penalty against Wolves, you saw Foden's celebration. Just the award of the penalty, these City players were pumping the air, knowing Haaland's going to bury it. He's going to bury it. The fist pumping of the air, they knew full well calm, settle those nerves, relax, and we started to play our football, and from there on we grew from strength to strength and ended up putting 5 past Wolves. If we can get an early goal against Fulham, that will likely do the same, and hopefully we can do that, because it will be key. Concede first. Fulham have something to hang on to. They'll batten down the hatches. They'll stick a low block in front of the edge of the area, and it'll be a grim afternoon for Manchester City. So I can't emphasise how important it is for Manchester City to to get the first goal. Whoever it is, it doesn't have to be Erling Haaland, can be anybody, any sort of scrappy goal, like the penalty. It wasn't exactly, the most glamorous of goals, but any goal will do at this stage of the season. Team news, City have a full bill of health, as do Fulham, I believe. Only Harrison Reed is a bit of a 50-50. He's facing a late fitness test. Should be fine. Let's have a look at the tactics board. I'm going to start with Fulham. Bernd Leno is likely going to be in goal for Fulham. Hopefully he gets burned in this game. I'm cringing at myself, don't worry. If you're cringing in this video watching this, I'm cringing as well, don't worry. Castagna, right back. Bassi, who is a big Bassi bastard. He really is an absolute unit. A big bastard, Bassi is. He really is. He's a big guy. Solid as a rock. But what's his distribution like? What's his awareness like? I'm not convinced as a defender, but get locked into a one-on-one battle, and Erling Haaland, as strong as he is, probably won't come out favourite in that battle. Issa Diop, another big guy. He'll probably enjoy the challenge of facing Erling Haaland. Anthony Robinson is someone I'm going to speak about in a minute because of his speed on that counter-attack. He's someone they use quite often, linking up with Willian down that left-hand side, but I'll get onto that shortly. Harrison Reed is probably fit, but Sasa Lukic has been playing as of late in the most recent game. Which I believe will probably be the same again because he's a good player, Sasa Lukic, and he's more suited to playing against Manchester City, in my opinion, because of his physicality and his more defensive-minded operations rather than Harrison Reed, which is more of a number 8, typical number 8. He's got both sides of the game. But I think Sasa Lukic is probably a little bit more defensive-minded. Paulinho, who's an unbelievable player for me. I mean, I think City should be looking at Paulinho. He nearly went to Bayern Munich in the summer, didn't he? I think City should be looking at him. The fact that we went for Declan Rice, I think Paulinho is like underneath Declan Rice. He's not the same quality of player. I don't believe that. Whether we go for João Neves or not, I'm not sure. But we should be looking at a player like Paulinho. And someone like with Manuel Akanji pushing into midfield, John Stones pushing into midfield. Imagine Paulinho doing it. You know what I mean? Alongside Rodri. That would be a force, man. That would suddenly build that big blue wall that won us a treble that was impenetrable last season. Hopefully we could go for someone of that quality in the summer, but we'll have to wait and see whether it's going to be Paulinho or not. In front of them, Pereira. Where are you, mate? Number 18, Pereira, former rag. And it's very much settled at Fulham now, considering more of a Fulham player than a former rag. But when you remember, don't you? And you go, boo, a boo, don't you? Anyway, up front, Muniz. Up front, hopefully he continue his bad vein of form in front of goal, but you just never know. Willian on the left and Alex Iwobi on the right. Now, Manchester City, I'm going to go with Ederson because Pep is likely to pick Ederson. If it was me, I would pick Stefan Ortega because I feel like he's shown more goalkeeping assurances than Ederson has of late. He's been flapping. You know, it was his fault Wolves scored. He was lucky not to concede a goal against Forest in that first half before he went off injured for numerous occasions where he was flapping. I'm concerned about Ederson. I'm not going to lie. I'm concerned. Stefan Ortega, I'm not concerned. So I feel like he should be between the sticks for me. Get in the comments below and let me know if you think Ederson or Ortega should be in the bags for you. Gvardiol at left centre-back. I'm going to go with Nathan Ake again. I feel like Ruben Diaz has been struggling. He's not been in bad form, but he's not quite as good as Nathan Ake has been as of late. So I'm going to go with Nathan Ake in the middle and then Kyle Walker, which we very much need his speed down that Manchester City's right and to deal with Fulham's left side of the pitch. I'm going to go with Akanji in front of them to drop in and out of centre-back. And then, of course, Rodri alongside him. Kevin De Bruyne in the middle. And now Kovacic, who seems to be a mainstay in our campaign, Premier League business end of the season campaign, this final 6-7 games of the season. Kovacic has played a huge number of minutes in the last 5 or 6 games or so, maybe longer than that period of time as well, because he's played well. He's not done anything glamorous. He's not scoring goals like Gundogan. He's not getting assists, but he's doing the business in midfield. He's controlling games and he's keeping the heartbeat of Manchester City just keeps ticking thanks to Kovacic. And I feel like this guy's playing a big role in our midfield, so I'm going to play him again in that midfield. which therefore forces Foden to the sides, which is the downside to Kovacic playing. And I know a lot of people will want to see Foden in the middle, but you probably will see Foden in the middle during spells of this game as well. But on paper, he's going to start on the left, and I'm going to go with Bernardo Silva, Mr. Reliable, on the right, as well as Erling Haaland up top. Now, in terms of Manchester City attacking, that's when I think we'll start to see Phil Foden pushing inside and probably see more Gvardiol, like we've seen in recent games, pushing on to that left-hand side. So there's your Phil Foden playing a little bit more centrally. Kovacic tends to prop up the final third play a little bit, with Kevin De Bruyne trying to get into that pockets of space in between Paulinho, any pockets of space really for Kevin De Bruyne, who does tend to have a free license in games like this. As well as Rodri in midfield as well, and Akanji. Bernardo Silva trying to maintain width on that right-hand side, and I feel like that gives the counter-attacking protection, with Kyle Walker allowed to stay back. Now, on occasions, you're probably going to see Kyle Walker get forward and get involved in play, but you can immediately see the problem in this setup is this man right here. Alex Iwobi is going to be the main threat for Fulham, but for me, I feel like the better side of Fulham is the left-hand side, with Robinson and Willian going down that left-hand side. I feel like that's more of a potent threat from Fulham. On the other side of the pitch, Alex Iwobi is a good player, but is he? I mean, he could deliver. He tends to have a good game every 10 games for me, Alex Iwobi. He's one of those players, he's nowhere near consistent enough. But on his day, he can do some real damage to the opposition. He's big, he carries the ball well, he's okay in front of goal, but he can have stinkers. He can have absolute stinkers. You're just praying this is one of those games where he has a stinker. But he can do damage, so I am concerned about him. It's an area of the pitch that we're going to have to be mindful of, with Rodri and Nathan Ake having to do a lot of covering should the ball break down that right-hand side. But in terms of the way Fulham like to actually play, in the this comes with a caveat, mind you, that the likeliness of Fulham actually getting opportunities to play like this is going to be few and far between, because how often are they going to actually get the ball? But they do like to rotate, and kind of like City in a way, not exactly like City, but similar in a way where they invert the wingers a little bit, and you'll end up seeing Willian like this, and Sasa Lukic like that, and Robinson very much on the left-hand side, which therefore gives, say, this is an opportunity for Fulham to come forward in numbers, let's say, and if they have a little spell in the game where they dominate the ball for 5-10 minutes, are they going to do that? Are they ever going to do that in this game? It's going to be interesting to see if they can actually hold the ball for that long. But if they do, this is what they like to do. With Alex Iwobi getting forward, Castagna as well, and Issa Diop, and Bassi likes to have those three in front of him. Now, normally, typically, you'd see it more like that with Willian and Robinson behind like that, but Robinson pushes much further forward. Willian tucks inside, comes even further inside more often than not than the midfielder that's in front of him, and they like to have Bassi with three options, the three channels to pass into, for Robinson very much using his speed down that left-hand side. But it's the perfect side for Manchester City to deal with, because we've got Akanji over there that can come and tuck in alongside Rodri to look after Willian, and Kyle Walker to look after the speed of Anthony Robinson. Now, we need Kyle Walker's defensive mind to be on in this game. And that's the main threat for me for Fulham, is down that left-hand side, crosses coming into the box. Alex Iwobi's going to be the free bird in this game for me. I feel like he's going to be the player, though, that's actually going to be given more freedom to counter-attack down that right-hand side. So it could just be a free spirit sort of game for Alex Iwobi, where he can float and offer an out ball for Fulham, and that's the area of the pitch that concerns me most. But what area of the pitch concerns you the most as Manchester City fans? Get in the comments below. Let us know your thoughts and your predictions. I'm going to go 3-1 City with an early goal, hopefully, in the first half. First 20 minutes would be nice to go 1-0 up. After that, we can control the game, maybe make it 2-0. Hopefully 3-0. But at that point, any goal from Fulham, I expect Fulham to score, though, at some point in the game. Because we've been, like I said, we've been conceding 10 shots on average on our goal away from home. So I feel like there are going to be chances for Fulham in this game, and we've just got to make sure we score more than them. It's as simple as that, as an oversimplification as I can make it. It's true. It really is true. But get in the comments below, let us know your thoughts, like and subscribe to Typical City, and I'll see you in the next one.
This is Typical City now.